Belated good evening to everyone.
Hi,
Good to see y'all.
everyone.
Jane, Melissa, and hello to the fam. Hope
Aw,
everybody is doing well. I'm Clay, joined by the ever lovely, ever gracious, ever sweet, kind E Train. It's good to see y'all. It's good
hey
to be with y'all
guys.
tonight. It's been a long day. Been in class all day. I actually
Yeah,
went to a AI conference.
I want to ask you about that. How did that go?
Um, Good. That's
Goodish.
a good question to answer. It went There were some parts that were an utter and complete waste of time. I'll just
What? Now, Clay, you have to actually acknowledge the fact that you probably know more about AI than most people.
Well, it's not only that, it's that some of the speakers were going over, um, pedagogy, how to
Uh,
teach a class
what? On AI or in
on
general?
AI, and it
Yeah, I
was
wouldn't.
like, you know, in intro education, how to teach high schoolers breaking, it's just the ridiculousness some of that goes into.
Stop
Then we
it.
spent an hour on, oh, what do you call it? Um,
No clue.
Copyright
Mm,
issues.
that is important.
I could have covered it in 5 minutes. It's basically don't steal somebody else's work or attribute to yourself work that wasn't yours. Done. So some of it got a little long in the tooth, but at the end of the day, we had a guy who is actually running his own AI firm, and he was fascinating. So made the whole day worthwhile.
Hi, Sky. Good to see
Hello,
you too.
Sky. How are you doing? Good to see you. He kind of shared with us a little bit of his thoughts of AI and how to run a firm. He's in the AI. He's in the finance banking industry,
Hmm.
and he comes from another fintech firm. I won't mention the name of the firm, but it's
Okay,
grown relatively large. They hire a
let's
lot of
back
our grads.
let's back up a second. So was this just for the economics finance department or is it for everyone?
The whole school of business,
Okay. So just the Cameron School of Business.
right?
Okay.
And he he gave us his one thing that was interesting was his vision of running a firm. If he took over a computer software firm, or a fintech firm, let's call it financial technology firm, fintech, he said his first move would be to randomly fire 50% of the people, and then with the remaining 50%, he would tell them that in another month 50% of those would be fired, and it would be on merit.
I love merit.
And then
Meritocracy is great.
and then he would let them go. He said he said basically he has created a firm with 6 employees
Hmm.
that replaces basically what 50 used to do. And he gave their basic formula. And this is the fascinating part, because this would be applicable in a lot of different areas for people kind of wondering how to use AI. He'll have, you know, a software engineer or whatever, and they'll have 3 screens, and one will be Chat GDPO, which
GTP,
just, huh?
right?
Well, it's
GTP?
a version that just came out today, actually. The second one would be another AI, the third one would be a third AI. And the programmer would ask ChatGDPO to write a program that would accomplish this in whatever language. And then when it had completed that, he would copy and paste that program in the second AI and say,
Mhm.
break it. And so the second AI would go through it and try to break it, find holes in it, gaps, whatever, problems. And then he would take that and post it in the third AI and say, fix it. And the third AI would then manufacture solutions to the issues. And then the guy reverses it. So he's having AI write, one guy is having AI write the code, critique it, fix it, and proof it, and then refix it. And you get pretty bulletproof code. So this one guy in 30 minutes replaced the work of 5 or 6 programmers working weeks.
Those poor programmers. They're out of a job now.
Well, his degree is in, computer science. And
I
he
figured.
works, huh?
I kind of figured that.
Yeah. And his daughter, he's got a daughter that's in high school, and she's kind of wondering what to major in. And so ask him, what do you suggest, what field do you suggest for your daughter? We're, our department, this is with just a departmental meeting with us, finance and econ. And he knows everybody's in there, finance and econ. Obviously, he's computer science. And he just looks around and he goes, art.
Which is
His
a
point
useless
is
degree.
that a lot of people in finance, banking, computer science are very replaceable, becoming increasingly replaceable.
So, Clay, since you have pretty much depressed anyone here who does anything with computer science, coding, or anything else, because I used to, um, we are unimportant now. Lovely.
No,
And
not saying that.
you pretty much just said that, we're all replaceable.
No, what I pointed to basically is a process of creative destruction. That technology for the past, ever since we've had, the Industrial Revolution, the advancement of technology, yes, has killed some jobs, but it's generally created more than what it's killed. Generally, the advancement of technology has been associated with an increase in productivity and prosperity. I don't know how AI is going to create additional jobs. I don't know in what fields or what new industries or what concepts or, what can be conceived. But I mean, if past is any teacher, then that is the normal and consistent result of improvements in technology. It's like the automobile replaced the horse and buggy. But in so doing, it's created millions of jobs, both in production, in repair, in supply, in maintenance, whatever.
Yeah, it's not the same thing. Anyway, to Jane Post, her comment.
AI is only as good as the machine learning behind it. I have personally seen it make some great conclusions and other times totally wrong. True, but remember, it's only in its infancy. And now you've got, they're on the 5th or 6th revision of ChatGPT, and it's able now. Don't know if you've seen the intro video. I probably should have cut a clip out of it, but the guy's on there talking about it. And he says, Chat, I want you to teach me math. And so he writes down an equation, 3x plus 1 equals 4. He writes it down on paper. He doesn't describe it to ChatGPT. He writes it down on paper. And then he says, don't tell me how to solve it, but teach me how to solve it. And then ChatGPT walks him through and this guy played as dumb as a brick. ChatGPT was terribly patient, but it walked through innumerable suggestions, ideas on, trying to encourage him to organize the X on one side, all the numbers on the other, kind of thing. Basic algebra. And it solved the problem, which up to now, most AI has really been text oriented. This new iteration can also work out math, and 2, it's visual. It read the problem and constructed the equation, which is a hell of a leap.
Clay is really excited about all this, and I'm sorry for those of you that have come on that are so freaking depressed right now about the fact that there are going to be no more teaching jobs or computer science jobs or whatever. So I do apologize.
No, I don't think it will necessarily impact teaching jobs. What it can do is become a rather good tutor.
Okay.
And people think, oh, we won't need to have, the basic skill sets anymore. I think there will be just as great of a need for the basic skill sets because you won't know how to ask or interpret the questions. Like Jane says, there are sometimes when it gives you a wrong solution. We call them mirages. It produces a mirage. And you need to have the skills and the ability to identify that. AI is just advanced computing. To me, I've always defined AI as a code that can adapt itself, can write its own code, can create new sources of data, seek out and find new sources of data. It can operate as a separate entity. We're not there yet. What we've really got is what I would consider to be very, very advanced, high-speed computing. Some people, some of the speakers today held the definition of AI as most every computer program because it was mimicking some rational process. It can add 2 + 2. Well, that's not exactly how I've defined it, but I won't quibble with anybody that wants to, use that definition. But, Pandora's box has been opened. It's not a matter of whether we like it or want it. It's here and it's coming, and we have got to prepare our kids, our students for that world. Some of the old methods, ideas, paradigms are learning. Entry-level jobs are disappearing due to a couple causes. One would be the increased minimum wage. The other would be AI. A lot of the clerical, mundane, repetitive tasks, AI can take over. And so kids need to learn to operate in that environment. They need to learn how to access AI, not just to cheat and bypass grades, which is, most of us professors kind of had that view of AI that students, its really only purpose exist was to help students cheat, write
No,
papers.
no, that's not the purpose. I don't think. I don't think it's ever been the purpose. I mean, it
I'm
has
being
done
a
that.
Yeah, I'm being a little facetious. I'm just saying that's where we have seen it in use so much. But, you know, one of my classes is a quote unquote writing intensive course. Students have to write a paper in it. And what I may do is have them write a paper and then, you know, have an AI write a paper on the same topic and then have the student compare the two, the grammar, the flow, the mechanics, whatever. And just try to use AI as a tool to one, familiarize them a little bit better with what AI is, what it can do, and use it as a learning opportunity.
What can't AI do?
It can't dream, it can't conceive, it can't have hope, it can't have compassion.
That's the problem with AI, in my opinion.
Well, any computer decision, it's just a more powerful computer.
You're right, Jane, but I can. So there you go. I can replace the whole damn thing. But I think it's very dangerous. That's just my opinion. I hold that strong. I know you're excited. You had the class
I'm
and
not
you got to see all
excited.
these
I just
fun
I
things,
just
but I don't.
I'm not excited, but that guy that spoke, the last guy that spoke, had kind of an eye-opening approach. It doesn't make me excited about it, but it does help me to understand that the cat's out of the box. That this is what the world is moving to. This guy will have a small company in terms of employees. Right now, he's got 6 employees doing the work of 50 or 100. And some of the indications are that he will be a multi-billion dollar company within a few years with 6 people, 8 people. The way we have learned, the world in which we grew up is changing. Change through generations has only accelerated its pace. The world changes faster and faster.
Moffat, some change is good, some change is bad. I'm
I'm
not
not
sure
arguing
that.
that. I'm just saying
Okay.
it's changing, and it won't do us any good to hide in the corner and yell at it. You
No,
know,
I just think,
we can
yeah.
adapt to it. We can utilize it where possible for whatever good we want, but we need to understand it because it is the world of the future. In some ways, AI may revolutionize society as much as electricity did. Because if you think about it, electricity is involved in most everything we do. And AI has that very same very real potential. Um,
I don't
right
think I
now, your
want
phone I'm sorry, go ahead.
I don't think I want a computer or an AI telling me. I mean, electricity is one thing, like you can see. Great. Awesome. There's light.
I
I
mean,
think
there's
AI is a completely different animal. And I think that it is a very scary, not because, I mean, I was computer science major. I get it. But I also see the dangers that I believe that it can create.
I mean, there's some people that don't like electricity.
Who?
Certain extreme Amish types. Um Some homesteaders, old school homesteaders, just
They still
use
like electricity. They just
they
want it in a
still
different way.
they'll use candles or whatever. They want to be completely off grid. I'm not saying it's a lot, but there's some
I
out
would
there.
too.
But there's some out there. But if you're going to live in society, then you just have to get used to it. It's coming. And it won't, I was going to say that most of us are attached to our phones, use it for everything. Well, in a few more years, phones will be passe. Everybody will be wearing glasses, sunglasses, or whatever. And those glasses will have a little camera, a microphone, an earpiece. And everything you see and do, everywhere you go, there'll be inputs. You were talking about potential for bad. I would see
Yeah.
this as one of the bad. And everything you do, data will be gathered on. An incredible profile will be built, and it will be able to decipher and even predict largely the way you think and see. So as you're walking, you look at something, an old building, and your glance is a little bit longer than normal. AI can see that, realize you've got a question about that building. So all of a sudden it starts talking in your ear. It identifies the building, its location, starts telling you its history, whatever business is operating there, whatever information's available on it. And so your daily existence is going to be fed by AI ultimately. Just
Right.
like your daily existence depends on electricity.
Moffat, let me ask you a question.
Ask
May
me
I?
the question.
How many store MVP or cards do you have when you go to the grocery store?
I don't use them.
Why not?
Tracking. I'm a little bit more of a private person.
What do you think AI is going to do?
Oh, I just described. It was going to be tracking. Ellen, you keep thinking with me pointing out what I think the future holds that I'm supporting all that. I'm not. I'm just saying this is coming. This is the way it's going to be.
Okay.
If somebody said, okay, I know my phone tracks me. I know it listens to everything I say. There are times when I don't want that, so I leave my phone behind. When I buy a new computer, I will physically disconnect the microphone. I'll keep the camera covered up, whatever. So I'm not saying that I support that any more than I do this phone gathering all sorts of information and data on me. But I still have to use the phone. I still carry it with me a lot of the time. The AI in your eyepiece, your glasses, sunglasses, whatever, won't be any different. It will just do an even better job of collecting data on you and analyzing it and giving you immediate feedback. It's the speed of it that is so amazing.
I wouldn't characterize it as amazing, but that's just me. But how do you not do the things? Because I don't have any interest in AI being a part of my life whatsoever.
You go to a part of the world where it doesn't exist or not necessary. You get very remote. You get off the grid and you stay off the grid.
That's what Sky just asked. Where do you go that you do not want to be tracked? Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, that's what I'm saying. It's, I'm sorry, you came into this sounding really excited. And I'm like, this doesn't sound exciting to me at all.
No, I was kind of amazed because my eyes have been opened a little bit more, particularly in using AI. If I have a problem, econometrically or whatever, now that AI is getting better at the maths, I can literally present my problem to AI, take the solution, put it in another AI, and have it criticize it. Take that, put it in a third AI, and have it correct the criticisms. And then feed back all that information. So in an hour, it could save me weeks or months of work.
Yeah.
That is a little fascinating to me as a researcher. AI can conduct literature reviews. I probably should have had a website or two pulled up and, demonstrate it. Maybe I'll do that Saturday night a little bit.
I am too, Sky Ricky.
Sometimes just, for a walk at the beach or over to one of my neighbors who used to work in intelligence.
True.
So.
And thank you, Sky. Your excitement on how it can help you is great, but the excitement on how it's going to interfere in everyone's lives, I am a little concerned.
I mean, everybody ought to be concerned with centralization and increasing information on you, your likes, your preferences, or whatever. I'm not arguing that at all. I'm just saying that it's coming. I'm just saying it's going to be here, that it's increasing, that AI is getting better. And it will be more and more applicable. It's already made great strides in adapting to natural language. You don't have to speak computerese to use it. You can simply ask it a normal, straightforward question. Chat, pretend you're a marketing expert. Here's my business. Here's my financials. Here's my website. Draw up a advertising plan that will be most effective for me to reach people on a budget of $1,000 a month, whatever. Its potential for small scale businesses in helping them advance and access resources, information that heretofore they've never been able to afford or attach is pretty significant. So there's a lot of opportunity for people to use it to improve their life. There's a lot of opportunity for it to be used for evil purposes.
I would say that's the biggest.
Yeah, there
opportunity. It's for nefarious purposes.
I agree. It has huge potential for evil, but it's coming. It's coming, and it's kind of hard for someone to complain about it if they carry their phone around all day or if they're on a computer all day, because everything you do is already being tracked or has an Alexa or
but
Siri.
Not by artificial intelligence.
Oh,
That's the difference.
That database is being analyzed by AI. 80% of the companies are starting to use it. And that number is only going to go up. It offers just such advantages.
To whom?
Who wants better information and make better decisions and do it more efficiently?
Wait, you said better decisions.
Yeah.
For whom?
For whoever wants better decisions.
Do you really think that Amazon or Joe Biden or the government wants better decisions?
Amazon is spending $1 billion to improve its AI. Google, Chat, OpenAI, Microsoft are spending billions and billions to improve their AI.
And you believe they have our best interests at heart?
Where did I say that?
You said they use it to make better decisions.
No, the individual can. So like I gave the example of the small business. If you have a limited budget and you don't have the money to hire a real marketing consultant, AI is a very, very strong alternative. If you're running a business and you have 50 computer programmers trying to write unique code for unique applications, you can reduce that to 5 and use AI to write the code and proof it and improve it.
So essentially, all engineers are going to be
Using AI, most of them
useless.
already are.
They will be useless
No,
because AI can do it. I mean, anybody can just say, "Hey, create this for me," and AI can do it.
well, when the AI produces results, you need to be able to understand, communicate those results. You need to be able to recognize if there's something seriously wrong.
Not if you
Maybe you
use
fed a
your,
wrong prompt in. Maybe
not if
AI
you,
accessed wrong data, or AI just created a mirage.
not if you use your earlier example where you put it through 3 different ones, find the
You
holes, find the problem,
Well, if you don't
fix the
understand the
problem, and
problem,
then
you
throw it
can't
back.
if you don't understand the problem or the situation, you can't ask a good prompt question. You
I
need to
think
have knowledge to use it. You need to
I think
have
that's
So
pretty
that's why
easy.
I say I don't think it really will limit necessarily the need for primary knowledge. What it does is it speeds up a lot of tasks.
All
Instead
right,
of
Jane.
taking weeks or months, it can do it in minutes or seconds. And it
Jane.
opens up a whole lot of information and abilities to people that don't have those resources available otherwise. Jane, AI is okay to a point, but I agree with Ellen. I don't want it all up in my business. I don't either. I don't, you know, I don't like Alexa. I don't like Siri listening all the time. I don't like my TV having a microphone. Those things I generally find some solution to. But let's face it, most everybody lives with those. AI is going to do the same thing, collect the same information, and analyze it, utilize it better in terms of knowing you better, predicting your interests, loves, thoughts, comments, questions you have. Like I say, if you're walking and you stop and you look at something for a second, AI is going to notice that and start feeding you information. Look at all the youth, how they're all tied up into Xbox and other games, and they buy these goggles to, have games played or whatever, to play games. Everybody in society, not everybody, but millions are already being conditioned and trained for that world. It's just another progression.
Trained. That's the problem.
Yeah, I don't argue that. I'm not saying it's all good. I'm saying there is some good. We need to learn how to use it for that good. Like I say, just standing in the corner and yelling at it won't do any good.
But Clay, the
But
fact that it does, okay, it creates good, but it also has a very high tendency to do bad things.
we really can't understand that unless we get in it and use it. Unless we
And until it's created chaos.
It's
I
like
mean,
Sun Tzu said,
what is
you
the
should
but
know
what is
your
the
enemy.
point? What is the point where you say that's enough? And then at that point, can you even control it?
I don't know. Ask me what's gonna happen tomorrow. I don't know. What's gonna happen a year from now? I don't know. 5 years from now? I don't know. I can see trends, and I look at the trends and I follow the trends and I try to adapt accordingly. I don't have to like the trends. I don't have to support the trends, but the trends are the trends, and I'd be foolish just to ignore them. There's usually opportunity if one looks and understands the trends. That's what I'm interested in. That's what this channel is about. It's not
No,
just pissing against the wind. It's about learning and adapting. Adapt, improvise, and overcome. But if you do not understand what's coming, you can't do any of the others.
I fully understand what's coming, and I think it's extremely dangerous. So I have a little bit of a different point of view than you because I saw it years ago. And I think that all of this is going to be pretty damning in the end.
It
And I don't know how far it's going to go or what it's going to do or whatever, but I am not interested in AI becoming a part of everyday lives. I think that is a very dangerous thing.
you can stand in the corner and yell at it all you want.
No,
That
I
is
just
your option.
refuse. I
My
refuse to promote
option.
it. I refuse to be a part of it. I refuse to take part in it, and I refuse to um, tell anybody that it's great. I just
That
don't
is
think it
an
is.
option. My choice is to try to understand it as best I can, use it for what good I can. And the more I understand it, the better I'm in a position to, let's say, not feed or encourage it any more than I want.
Fair
So,
enough.
um, they are two different opinions. Jane, yes, they do use Alexa to create AI algorithms. They use Siri. They use the mics on your phone and your computer. It's all collecting data on you. Um, and kids, do we just not prepare them for the world they are about to enter? I think we would do them a great disservice if we prepare them for the world of, 20, 30 years ago and not for the world they'll enter.
Well, the world today is they have access to free porn. There are more sexual deviants now than have ever been in history. Do
Yeah,
do you
that's
think
not
AI is
exactly
going to
what I was talking about.
continue to promote that? Probably
That's
because it
not
makes them
exactly
dumber.
what I was talking about.
I understand. I'm just saying there's the flip side of the coin.
No, there's not. There's just the trend. They've been saying
Pain,
that to the Amish for generations, and they're doing just fine. They are. It's very, um,
peaceable.
yeah, simple life is still possible, but you have to adopt a whole different lifestyle. And I think few people are prepared for that, and even fewer willing to do it. So, for the majority of people, what's their choice? I think understanding, I think knowledge, I think being equipped with knowledge and understanding and wisdom is the best thing we can offer 'em. So it is technology is always going to change.
I will, Jane, because I'd rather be there than run by freaking AI. That's for darn sure.
Now, do you mean up or out west?
No, up.
Oh, I was thinking,
No. Come on. We'll all go to Jane's house.
yeah.
Come on, Melissa.
Now I really want to go to an Amish farm stand.
I don't mean to
Simple is
be all
oftentimes better.
negative. I don't mean this stuff is just very freaking scary where it could lead to a point that you can't go back.
You may. There may be significant issues before that point. There's potential in all sorts of directions. And a lot of people are aware of the risk.
You sure? I think a
Yeah.
lot of people are avoiding the risk.
No, I'm talking about people in the industry. Who was it? Microsoft or Google, their AI started on its own making kind of anti-human statements, expressing anti-human sentiments, so they had to turn it off and rework it. There's a fair amount of understanding of some of the risk, but there's also the understanding of the inevitability of AI. So it is coming. Bottom line, it
It's
is
kind of
coming.
like, okay, how about this, Clay? Let me try to get you on a different level. It's kind of like the nuclear bomb. We were the first to create it, but no one should use it. Am I wrong?
We used it.
We did, and it was devastating.
Yeah, exactly what it was designed to do.
But now it's like the thing you don't do because it is so devastating.
Well, if you were president and you were at war with a nation, and to invade it, you would expect 1,000,000 American troops to be lost, to be killed in that invasion.
Mhm.
Or you could drop a couple of bombs. What would you choose?
I am not saying that it was a horrible, and they really didn't know what it was going to do. It was the first time they'd really used it.
Oh, no, they knew.
But
'Cause
I can't make a moral equivalent there.
I can. I'd drop the bomb.
I know you can. I know you would. But now it's like the thing you don't do because they saw what happened. They saw how bad it was, and you don't do it again.
You
That's
hope
kinda how
you
I
don't.
feel about that's kinda how I feel about AI. Does that make
Yeah, but
sense?
even because people haven't unleashed the evil of those weapons again, doesn't mean that they still don't build them and use them for their intended purpose, which is deterrence.
But how do you contain AI once you've leashed it or unleashed it? You can't.
That's in the programming secret, but it's coming.
You're not gonna be able to
Jane,
contain
what
it if
really
it can
scares me is
rewrite.
those Boston Scientific robots having access to AI.
Yes, ma'am.
It's coming. And they're those robots are getting scary good at imitating human movement with a lot more speed, a lot more power. So, there's some risk out there. My point is we should understand those risks as best as possible so that we can plan whatever for them. Ignorance is never an advantage.
No, I think I know exactly what they can do. I'm not
Well,
saying that
nobody knows exactly what they can do.
meh.
Um, Jane, do you use WASWIT?
That's just a personal question.
Okay. I'm like, might have lost me on that one. So that was the conference. Like I say, the last speaker left quite an impression. And so overall, it was an interesting day. Let's shift. I owe y'all a brief discussion on Argentina, Malay. Anybody have any questions? Don't hesitate to throw them out. It's really y'all's night, but we talked a little bit Saturday, ran a little long, and mentioned that would talk about Argentina and Malay. The new president, I say new, he's only been in office 3 months, but he's making pretty much a ruckus in international economic circles with his self-proclaimed shock therapy chainsaw economics. For those of you that may not be familiar or don't remember, he actually ran his presidential campaign carrying around a chainsaw. And there would be a plywood board of the government and all the offices. He'd just take his chainsaw and just start cutting some of the departments, what we would call a cabinet level department, off. Interestingly, he's a politician that's actually done what he said he would do, implementing most of his policies or most of them, by taking his beloved chainsaw to the state and its spending. And the results are kind of fascinating. It's certainly not what most predicted. Now, to understand Malay, his pillars are based on, his policies are based on 2 main pillars. First of all, stabilizing monetary policy. Monetary policy is the ideas that govern currency, both its circulation in a system and used in international trade. His second main pillar is fiscal reduction, cutting the size of the government. Just noticed Ellen left. Sorry. So in 3 months, he has pretty much savagely attacked the Argentinian government, the Argentinian budget, to the degree that he has cut spending from a deficit of GDP to where this past month they had a 0.2% surplus, the first surplus since 2008. Now, over the past decade, the large amount of debt they've accumulated, the excessive spending they've enjoyed has fueled inflation, resulting in about a 12 or 15% drop in per capita income with prohibitively high interest rates. Their interest rates were up to 100% when he took office, because the end result of those policies was extremely high inflation, which is a tool the government uses to try to effectively reduce the debt, because they can pay old debt dollars in an inflated currency. It doesn't have the same value, so they can pay it back cheaper. It's kind of the Cliff Notes version to it. So this has severely impacted trade for Argentina. Imagine you're trying to sell a good in a country with 300% a month inflation. I'm sorry, 300% a year inflation, 25% a month. How do you price your goods? You almost have to increase the price every day. Otherwise, you're going to be losing money. Well, with this kind of inflation rate, it also drains the bank of its reserves. All of its foreign reserves it has to spend, and foreign dollars aren't being spent in the country, which makes it more difficult to secure foreign capital and investment. So exports for Venezuela have fallen about 30% over this time. It's just pricing and inflation issues, production issues. So what has Malay done? Well, in 3 months, he's cut over 15,000 jobs in government. He's closed several ministries. He closed the state-owned news ministry, the culture and anti-discrimination ministry, both completely shut down. He's cut other departments as well. He's slashed government subsidies to the states, the different region there in Argentina, and he's cut pensions, what we would call Social Security. He literally has cut 35% in expenditures in 3 months. He's also unveiled plans to cut another 70,000 employees. Finally, he devalued the peso, the Argentinian peso, by 50%. Now, the reason for this is this makes Argentinian exports a lot cheaper and more competitive. He's trying to boost Argentine production and sales. So, trying to attract or earn business in foreign markets is a big part of that. Trying to give domestic firms the ability to increase their sales. Now, at the same time, it makes domestic goods more expensive. So that would, in many ways, people would say, well, that's going to contribute to inflation. Well, on the inflation front, he's actually cut in 3 months. He's cut inflation from 25% a month to 8.8% a month. That 8.8% just came out a few hours ago. So they've had 4 consecutive months of decreases in inflation. He's got his first budget surplus in 20 years, cut interest rates from 100% to 50%. And he stabilized the peso, which has not only stabilized, but rallied. It actually has soared 25% against the dollar the last couple of months. He cut regulations on oil and shale development, hoping to spur growth in those industries, hoping to kind of spark an industry boom, much as the U.S. had in the shale development. And he's eliminated a lot of rent control, which most people would think would increase rents, but actually has decreased rents because more supply has come on the market. Landlords aren't afraid of renting their unit or, their units, their rooms, whatever, with the elimination of rent controls. And so more supply has come on the market, resulting in about a 20% drop in net rents. In addition, investors are increasingly attracted to Argentina. A lot of capital has started flowing into Argentina. You've got, large asset managers like Druckenmiller now investing in Argentina. Elon Musk is treating support and recommending investing in Argentina. The Argentinian stock market, the Merval, is up 40% in 3 months. None of this was predicted by most economists. In fact, many were predicting he would be put out of office within weeks or months. But he actually still maintains his general popularity rating. Now, to be sure, there are problems. Problems remain. The government unions are going on strike. Obviously, a general strike against public spending cuts has affected most of Argentina, where schools, banks, many shops remain closed. Even the trains and some metro services have been suspended. One of the main union leaders, a guy by the name of Hector Dyer, said that the 24-hour strike was a wake-up call to the president. So again, this mostly involved government workers. The private sector is still open, still churning along. The economy is undergoing a huge adjustment with many new unemployed. That's tough. No way around it. It is tough. The hope is that it is a short-term phenomenon, unlike the 200 to 1,000% inflation, which destroys the poor and the middle class, and whose effects are long-term. Inflation, after all, is the highest tax possible on the poor. So, some really big successes in Argentina, some really big problems and challenges remain. To me, the most interesting aspect of that is that if, inflation is cut, if the economy starts picking up steam, if Milei is able to continue running surpluses, then this is going to be a huge challenge to Western leaders who, in a shape, manner, or form, have been following Argentina's previous policies of spend and borrow, spend and borrow. We've seen spending and debt soar in this country. We've seen inflation start to crank up. We've seen it reduce a little bit, now starting to increase again. PPI, Producer Price Index, came out today. And those are the prices that manufacturers pay, that producers pay, the raw goods prices. And for I want to say the fourth consecutive month, they increased. So you can expect they'll have to pass those increases along as well. But if Milei succeeds, then it's kind of like the whole world is watching. This is a fascinating laboratory. And it's a high stakes laboratory. There's a lot of people that have a vested interest in Milei failing and people that have an interest in Milei succeeding. So there's almost no middle ground. Almost no middle ground. Had a question from Sky Ricky. Whoops. What happened today on the stock market? The stock market, as most of you know, or maybe I shouldn't say that, one of the meme stocks, GameStop, a couple of days ago, a guy claiming to be, not Rabbit Hunter. I forget. But he's kind of the guy that started the meme run in 2021. Hadn't really tweeted since. Well, supposedly he tweeted again about GameStop. It actually was a meme of a guy sitting back in a chair, then an image of him leaning forward like he's now interested in GameStop. So that started a run on GameStop, which drove the price from about on May 2nd, GameStop was $10, $11. Drove the price up to about $54. And most of that occurring in a day or two. To me, the interesting thing is that this new rabbit guy is apparently a different account than the original rabbit guy. Yeah. And I wish I could remember his name his full name. Huh?
Can I have a minute?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, y'all.
Ellen wants a minute.
You can take Tallulah off if you want to. AI is it gets personal for me. I was a coder and I taught my little brother to code. And when you create something that can write its own code, I think you are getting into a very troubling is the best word to say topic. My brother is Clay Alsop, and y'all can look him up. He has done great things, but he also understood that it was good to do for the good of people and not create things that could think for themselves. I think I taught him that. I hope so. So anyway, I'm sorry. It's very personal for me. And I do think it's dangerous. So I apologize.
It's all
You're
right.
laughing, really?
You've been a little emotional lately. It's okay.
No, it's just a thing that I think is it's serious. It's not something to laugh about or something to take lightly of.
Okay.
So continue on. I'm sorry. I'm here. I'm the idiot here. I don't know.
No. Ellen has her gifts. She feels very strongly about things. And so we just love her for that.
Did you get to Sky Ricky's comment?
Yeah, we're just talking about it.
Okay.
So GameStop, which is the ticker symbol is GME. And
I'll see you, Chuck. No.
I really have not looked at GameStop. I really don't know what its cash flows or future are, but I have a pretty strong hunch that this is way overpriced. Now, some people are arguing, I've seen some sites talk about how people who are short, the idea of some of this was to punish the short sellers who try to drive the stock price down by increasing short selling. And the idea of the first rally of, in 2020 was to try to punish the short sellers, to pump the stock price way up so that the short sellers would lose money. And I've seen some, comments here about, on the web that short sellers over the last day or two have lost about $2 billion, which is not chump change. It's pretty significant amount of money. The flip side is with them driving this price to absurd highs. I know, Bill Ghost and some others are now, writing options, puts, selling puts or buying puts on this stock at these levels. Roaring Kitty is the actual name.
Huh?
Roaring Kitty is the guy I was talking about. The original was at Roaring Kitty. The guy that stirred all this up is at the Roaring Kitty. So it's actually a different individual.
By the way, we don't have any more lights on. You can see this big tiny end. Because Chunk, this right here, he decided to eat it today. Yay for him. So yeah, no more under cabinet lights at this point. We'll get there. I will probably have to rewire the thing, but it's okay.
So the thing about the shorts is if the price gets absurdly high, they're just going to write new shorts. And as it drops, they'll end up making their money back. So we'll see what happens. This is kind of a fascinating moment in the market. But when such unusual valuations occur, that's usually not a good sign for the overall health of the market. Once the market starts getting stupid and people do stupider things,
Stupid should hurt.
it ends up hurting. So, if you look at people like Warren Buffett, just sold off a bunch of Apple stock and has accumulated his largest cash pile that he's had in decades.
Applesauce? Apple stock.
Apple stock.
Sorry.
He's increasing his cash. He's holding on to cash. Why?
Cash is king.
Particularly in troubled times. And if you're increasingly concerned that the market may drop. So, several others are increasing their cash position as well. So
GameStop and AMC.
not AMC, I don't think, has AMC moved? I do not know.
No, Sky Ricky asked about AMC. Boring kitty. Thank you, Melissa, for the hugs. Understandably, that can be scary subject. Yes, it can be extremely scary.
Yeah, AMC,
Oddly
enough, has gone from $3. It reached a peak of 10 and is now at about 6.25. So it saw a little bounce, not quite the same as GameStop.
I need you to say AI a few more times because Carson wanted to make some jokes.
I don't know if I'm going to chip in on that and make you cry more.
No, it was actually going to be funny.
Carson, only a little late.
Hi, Carson.
Better late than never, man. Hope you're doing well.
And thank you for checking on me. I appreciate that.
I just checked. WizWit is powered by Shopify, not Amish.
That's a whole conversation that we're not in right now. That's between Jane and
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just going down the list here.
I know.
I'm amazed by what he's doing to turn it around in Argentina. Do you think that will cascade to other countries? If he is successful and if the economy turns around within a couple of months, I think voters are going to be demanding that there be a change in policies. And, a big kickoff to that would be November here in this country. If Trump wins again, that sends a huge international signal. You're seeing a lot of what I will call more conservative parties, anti-immigration parties gaining a lot of steam in Europe.
And they compare Malay to Trump.
Yeah.
You may have said that already.
No. And Canada, I don't have a good feel for what's going on in Canada. Maybe Sky and Carson could tell us, but it seems like there's a whole lot more concern with Trudeau, or even, disgust with Trudeau and the policies. So, things are starting to turn. How far will they turn? Will the turn be enough to put in place new and different governments with wholly new set of ideas? Don't know.
Roaring kitty. We're not talking about your kitty, Sky.
No, that was the name of the mean guy.
I know. I was on.
Let me see what I can pull up here.
I guess you missed the joke on that one.
Well, I was hoping to pull up both accounts to show, but I don't see them. Yeah. I'll wait for another day. Dave C's right there with you. It's understandable. AI can be a scary subject.
Very much so.
It is going to turn a lot of things upside down.
That's different. They're having a conversation.
Okay.
Go behind a couple minutes. I don't think the chuckling in that context was necessary. Which part?
Not sure. AMC, American Movie Corporation, and GameStop. These were the two meme stocks that bumped up in 2020 or 2021, couple years ago. Seems like a couple years ago.
It's not run by like BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, whole nine. So it was just run by the actual people who decided to bump it up, and they got screwed because they lost it. And
Yeah. We talked about that, on previous shows, how most people bought it when it was $200 to $400 a share. And of course, now it's at $6. So
I'm sorry.
little
Carson,
painful.
It's there to make me laugh. I have reasons to be skeptical about both forms of AI, artificial insemination, and AI. Machines can't manage that personal touch. I agree, Carson. There are multiple things that can cause a roaring kitty.
Welcome back, Carson.
You make my ass laugh. I love it.
Welcome back, Carson.
Carson is back to his usual self.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, Carson is probably our leading. I don't know. Ellen sometimes can give him a run for the money, but Carson would be our leading derailer. Yeah, he does it in fine fashion. So
he does, and we love him for it. At least I do.
Yeah, I love him as much as a straight man can. So there you go, Carson.
Yeah, but I mean, he does work with trains, so it's kind of funny that he derails.
Hadn't thought about that, but that's a good point.
Thank you. He actually sent us a picture of him with a derailleur.
Yes. Yeah. I remember that now. Mm-hmm. Speaking of, things going on in the market, hadn't mentioned the commercial real estate market much lately, but it's still struggling. Just saw where Google, which remember, Google laid off about 12,000 workers last year, has laid off about 10,000 this year. And now it's just today announced it was going to vacate 300,000 square feet of office space on San Francisco's waterfront. That's a pretty big chunk. And why is Google downsizing so much? Revenues are up, et cetera, et cetera. Well, AI. They're able to, eliminate a lot of workers because of AI. And that's having an impact on commercial real estate. These firms don't need as much real estate.
I'm sorry, if I have tears, Toulouse just goes nuts, licking my face. But she did get a ball. And she was very happy about that until she got to the tears. Sorry, I'm getting suffocated.
And here's Toulouse licking in my ear.
Sorry about that. It's a thing.
Jane, did you hear the story about Walmart laying people off and requiring people to start showing up at the office?
What?
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised to see Walmart laying off people. Usually if the economy starts to slow, they do well because more people shift their shopping to Walmart. Requiring people to, start showing up at the office. There's a lot of companies that are doing that. They're just not getting the productivity or the responses they need out of employees. And so, a lot of companies are trying to get people back in the office. Well, a lot of people don't want to go back in the office. They prefer staying at home. Don't know how that's going to work out, but I don't think that'll be a happy resolution all the way around.
Well, I think Jane is, I know several of our subs work from home.
Yeah.
I mean, and that it goes well if you do your job.
Yeah, but there's a lot that don't, or companies don't feel like they get the performance that they do if everybody's in the office and can talk and work together. I'm not sure about the specific details,
I love you. Stop it.
but I just know a lot of companies are pushing to get people back in the office. And some of them, Morgan had to threaten to fire people if they didn't come back in the office.
Morgan Stanley.
Yeah. So some interesting things, still going on with the commercial real estate. It's not getting any better. It's only getting worse.
There you go.
I am full-time remote, and I personally work more hours than I did when I went into the office.
Yeah, because
Let
you're
me
not
ask you,
distracted.
do you think that's common though? My impression is that's not common, but I honestly haven't seen good data on it. I don't know.
There's something wrong with your the black one.
Another thing I saw that I thought was modestly interesting was, remember a few months ago, we talked about how the Border Patrol Immigration released 5,000 illegal immigrants into the wild, 5,000 illegal immigrants that have been diagnosed with tuberculosis.
That was very kind of them.
Does that ring a bell?
Mhm.
Y'all remember when we mentioned that? Well, I saw this today. 14 tuberculosis cases, including 1 death. Officials in Long Beach, California, have now declared a tuberculosis outbreak a public health emergency. How cool is that? Now, remember, up until about 2 years ago, tuberculosis had been eliminated in the U.S. for decades. Now, all of a sudden, we're declaring public health emergencies, and people are dying.
I actually got tested as a false positive for TB when I was a kid.
Interesting.
You're like, not really.
No, I mean, it's not uncommon, but
We got some more.
Jane, I work in global finance, so I have to be available at all different time zones. I could never do that when I was in the office.
Fair enough.
Dave C., I have the same experience as Jane. 12-hour days are common.
And Melissa.
Oh, great. I have to worry about tuberculosis.
It is absolutely not in where you live. It's just in Long Beach.
Yeah, and Jane and Dave, I'd be interested in your thoughts on, what's your impressions of other people, in the firm who are working at home.
I think.
Do you think there are any advantages to working in the office? I don't know. I'm just asking.
I think Dave and Jane are both Gen Xers, in my opinion. Not sure, but sorry, Melissa.
We were just in Long Beach 2 weeks ago. Well, Melissa, we'll start looking up names of sanatoriums somewhere in the area.
Stop it. That's so rude. No, but I think that Gen X has a different perspective than maybe
Okay.
millennials or Gen Z or boomers. Like we've had to work for everything our entire lives. I know you roll your eyes and go, I'm a boomer, whatever. But seriously, it's a different thing. And I'm sorry, Melissa. I think those that are more really.
Melissa, you better be okay, is all I've got to say.
Mhm.
Jane, I hope that those that have more experience and more autonomy in their positions do well at home. I think those that have more experience and more autonomy in their positions do well at home.
I think so.
Dave, the folks that are not remote are on a 3-day-a-week schedule. Those in office days run 9 a.m. to 2:30. The company is getting a great deal from me.
Seriously? That's crazy. 3-day a week schedule if you're not remote, and from 9 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. That's like going to high school where I'm from.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the value is in that. I don't know. I don't know what firms are thinking or experiencing. Honestly, like I say, I haven't seen good data on it.
That's crazy.
Now I know in academia during the lockdowns, education really suffered. It was a lot harder, getting the kids' attention, instructing the kids, and a lot of teachers, a lot of professors just did a crappy job.
Jane agrees. Me too, Dave. So we got 2.
Yeah, but I'm sitting here thinking, I think we have a higher caliber of viewers than the average person.
Mhm.
And so I would expect, their work ethic to be better
Yeah, but she's
than
saying
on
that
average.
her worker, she works through an Amazon company or 3-day week schedule, and she works every day of the week.
No, that's Dave saying 3-day a week.
Me too, Dave.
Yeah, I think she was talking about the company is getting a great deal from me.
Oh, I don't know. Clarify, anyone.
So, I guess my point is if the companies felt like they were doing better, then they would encourage more at, remote work. But I don't know.
Depends on who you're hiring, in my opinion.
Yeah. I know there were some teachers, some professors that went over and above to try to, do well during the lockdowns. A lot didn't. And I admit just being irritated with the whole damn thing. Kind of as a instructive lesson to everybody or a general reminder to everybody. Google Cloud recently deleted an entire company's cloud environment. It was an investment company and manages $80 billion. The company had backups in another region, but Google Cloud deleted those too.
What?
Luckily, they had yet more backups on another provider.
Thank God.
Let's just, first of all, you think you can trust Google Cloud. Maybe you want to be a little bit cautious about that. But secondly, if you've got vital information, store it independently. Data storage is cheap nowadays, but don't get lazy and not keep your data well backed up.
Yeah,
and you can't trust the clouds.
You got to make sure that your cloud can't be hacked, or especially a financial investment company. We kept hard backups in a fireproof safe.
Jane, I really think it depends on the industry and the position that you're in. I'm sitting there working with data and spreadsheets all day long. It requires very little interaction.
That's my dream job, Jane. Very little interaction. I love interacting with you guys. I'm just saying, on the daily, I prefer to not do. Is that bad? Is that a horrible thing to say?
No.
I don't know. Okay.
A lot of people don't like necessarily interacting or working with other people. That is not, some people are more introverted. Some people are just get more work done by themselves. It just depends. Now, this is something that's kind of worthless, but I thought it was still impressive. Chunk.
He has lost 2 balls now. Besides his own.
He's about to lose his head.
Lovely.
This.
You have to blow that up and scroll through it.
Yeah, it really probably won't do much good. But this is the process in buying and selling a U.S. Treasury. And the idea isn't that I want you to understand or learn, all the different participants or whatever. But if you look at this, it's like I'm kind of amazed that a trade ever goes through, because you've got so many different communications, transfers, confirmations, etc. going on. It's just ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's like when you buy a house, you go on Zillow, you find a house. You have to schedule a meeting. Maybe you can do it through Zillow. You may probably need to contact the people individually or go through a realtor. You do that, then you decide to make an offer. So you have to write a contract. So then you get a lawyer involved. You've got to do a title search. You've got to do a survey. You've got all these different entities and parties involved. And we talked about
Yes, it is.
we talked about how with Bitcoin and Ethereum that I believe the future is having all of this on the blockchain. And once you have a survey, once you have a property identified and the title cleared, then you can pass that on freely and clearly in an instant at no cost. So, it's kind of my point earlier about AI. AI can do all this in a second. The blockchain offers some huge advantages in terms of improvements in efficiency, lower cost, speed, ease. You ought to be able to go on something like a Zillow, find a house, and buy it right there through that website. Boom, you're done in 30 seconds. How much easier, cheaper, quicker would that be? How much would that save, the buyers and the sellers in terms of time and hassle and risk? So, this is just part of the antiquated, thank you,
Mhm.
antiquated system that has emerged and been preserved through the decades. This is exactly what needs replacing. This is exactly what needs to be made more efficient. Too many people have their hands in the cookie jar, and it's wholly, completely unnecessary. So, like I say, nothing terribly useful here, but I just thought you might find it a little bit interesting about the complexity just to buy or sell a bond, a treasury bond, the most widely traded security in the world, the most liquid security in the world. Melissa, would Green Bean like to play with Chunk on like a permanent basis?
Stop trying to sell my dog.
I'm not.
No, you're trying to give them away.
I was going to say, I'm
no.
not trying to sell them. I'll make a donation to the Green Bean Entertainment Fund.
Stop giving my dogs away.
Somebody needs to. Anyway,
I'm going to give you away.
the price is right.
But no one will take you. So that's a whole other thing.
I saw this little chart on Kobayashi letter, and basically shows, if you remember during the pandemic, the lockdowns, there were some huge, significant stimulus payments made, and personal savings soared. Well, it's official; they're all gone.
No shit.
Excess savings, what are known as excess savings, are now negative.
Wait, what about the credit card debt?
So-
Isn't that over $1 trillion?
Credit card, is 1.4 trillion, set a new record. Household debt has set a new all-time
So
record.
doesn't that go down even more?
No, this is just money, what's called excess savings.
Yeah. So if you have
Excess.
1.4 trillion credit
excess
card debt.
savings is that based on the normal savings average, people have even less now. They should have,
Yeah, I get
to
that.
be equal to the historical average, should be 0.
Hmm.
So here they had excess savings over and above the historical average.
And here, y'all can't see where I'm pointing. Here, they
Twen-
had to start spending a whole lot more.
Yeah. And, roughly the end of 21, 22, once inflation really started kicking in, companies started laying off more. So
AI, whatever.
I just thought that was AI. I just thought that was kind of an interesting chart because that is a relatively rapid decline in personal savings. We've also seen record withdrawals from 401k plans. Household debt has soared to over 17 trillion, a new record. Defaults on credit cards are now at pandemic highs. Interestingly, home mortgage defaults haven't moved a whole lot yet.
Yeah,
Yet being the key word.
because credit cards have gone to the shitter. They will keep their home before they will pay their credit card debt.
Flip side is it takes them longer to get kicked out of the home than it does to have their credit card stopped.
Yeah, I know.
So just thought that was interesting.
I am not sure about your next topic here. No, y'all, it says measure your meat. I'm like, I don't know what's going on here, by the way. And there's no, you got to do the things again.
I know. Hold on. Just one thing at a time. Someday I'm going to let Ellen do all this.
You should. This is crazy.
Now, if you'll remember, we've talked before about the Great Reset. This is another, little thing that just popped up that I saw that I thought was fascinating. The Great Reset. And one of the stated goals of the Great Reset is that you will eat less meat. And a lot of people think, the government tracking and limiting your meat consumption. No, that's never going to happen. Why would the government even begin to start measuring how much meat you consume? Well, tell that to the mayor of the nation's largest city.
Consuming. I'm excited to announce that for the first time in our city's history, we're measuring just how much of an impact our food choices have on our emissions. First time we're doing this. We work with the C40 Cities Climate Leadership Group, and I want to take my hat off to a great corporate partner, American Express and EcoData Lab, to put this new inventory together. And we're grateful for their partnership. And again, as I mentioned, my colleague across the pond.
So could you hear that? The New York City mayor is thanking a company and American Express for helping them track meat consumption, meat purchases in the city.
That's how that works. They can use your bank account to track everything you do, be it if you're a Dick's Sporting Goods, Cabela's, whatever. If you go to a Christian bookstore, they are tracking your actual payments to those people. And if you are a Christian, or worse, a Christian nationalist, or someone who buys, ammunition, guns, whatever, they're tracking everything you do. And you wonder why I'm so upset about AI.
And, here you have government starting to track how much meat you eat. What possible reason could government want to develop the ability to track how much meat you eat unless they wanted to regulate how much meat you eat?
Wait, isn't that like the whole ESG Davos
Climate change thing,
people
yes.
that want to control
Great
everything
reset.
we do?
Great reset. So, this is a 15 or 20-second credit that he gives in a 25-minute speech. He's not making a big deal of it.
Jane, I will not eat the bugs. Sorry, it's not gonna happen. And if y'all can't put the AI together with this stuff, I don't know what to tell you. Like, it is just so intertwined.
Now, these computers are already doing this. They
I
don't need
understand.
AI to
It's
do
just
it. They're
gonna get
already doing it.
Smarter
Yeah,
doing it.
everything is, including
Alright.
Alexa and your phone and your computer, your iPad, all of that data collected.
I don't,
It's all being used.
I don't talk to Alexa.
No, but you have one in your room.
It hears me snore and have night terrors. What is that? The worst thing I could do?
Probably. Your phone hears you.
Nah.
But there are all sorts of data collections, and it's only getting worse. Anyway, I just saw that and thought that ought to be a bigger thing. People ought to be asking him, why the hell are you tracking how much meat I eat? And the idea is that, and we've talked about this before, cow farts.
Thank you, Jane. It might not be too long before I'm there.
Cow farts are bad for the environment because the cows eat green vegetation and then produce methane. And that ignores the reality that all decaying biomass produces methane. So whether cows speed up that production, they don't increase it. They just move it from 1 month to another. So the overall net effect on methane is nil, zero, zip, zilch, nada.
It all evens out.
It all evens out. So, but that's the underlying motive, is the argument that cows pollute the environment and create excess CO2, which there's not a single study out there that has ever been able to connect CO2 in the atmosphere to global warming. Hasn't presented a single mechanism by which that occurs. In addition, CO2 isn't a pollutant, it's fertilizer. It feeds plants. The earth is greener than it has been in thousands of years. We've got 15% more green area than we had, is it 30 years ago, 20 years ago? Because you've got deserts, edges of deserts now starting to grow vegetation due to the supply of CO2.
I'm not trying to ignore you guys, but my pop just texted me, so I'm texting him back, telling him good night, sweet dreams, all the good things. So sorry, I apologize.
And if you want to argue that CO2 is harmful to the environment, then you need to also be able to argue that the 97% of it that is produced in nature is not harming the environment. Just the 0.3% that humans produce. It's ludicrous. It is a weird argument. All right, so I've been doing most of the talking. What questions, comments do y'all have? Till they regulate China and India, I don't want to hear anything they have to say. China and India are huge quote unquote polluters and are only getting worse. China is building, is it 2 coal plants a month in order to supply electricity? That one problem with AI that hadn't been mentioned is that it's energy intensive. The processors, the cooling, the data storage access are all energy intensive. And Europe and the US are shutting down energy plants. And, you do have an increase in quote unquote green energy, but green energy is notoriously unstable, unreliable. Germany has had to take a wind farm and tear it down because it was sitting on top of a coal mine, and they've gone back to mining the coal because of the unreliability of the wind farm. Jane, I read that too. 2 a month for years to come. That is crazy. They realize you cannot have a prosperous economy without cheap energy. And at the current rate, our energy demands are growing and our ability to produce energy is not growing. The improvements we are not making to the grid to transport electricity, you can expect your electrical bills to keep rising significantly. Same with Europe. So, our governments are intent on limiting, I don't know how else to put it. They're intent on limiting prosperity, making energy more expensive, making food more expensive, trying to put farmers out of business, trying to limit what you can eat, having more and more, regulations, control over the economy and what you produce and can't produce. None of that is a recipe for economic or financial prosperity. It's simply they don't want people to be prosperous because you consume too much. Sky Ricky, I received a letter about a class action lawsuit about Viatris, and I've never heard of that. Can I email
Of course you can. You know that.
you this and you think it's a scam letter? Thanks. Sure.
You know.
Yeah. Anytime any of y'all have a question, now, understand, I am not a registered investment advisor. I can't give you specific advice. I'm not a lawyer. I can't give you specific legal advice.
It's more like if you were someone's parent and advise them on what you would do if they were your daughter or son.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Sure. But, if somebody has, a question and just wants a free opinion, which is worth what you pay for it, I'm always glad to try to, help somebody out if
You
they
use that all
they
the
need a
time.
separate view.
You're like, it's worth what you pay for. I didn't pay nothing. He's like, there you go.
There you go.
No, but it just keeps liability off of him. I get that. But he is a smart investor. I will tell you that.
So you'll own nothing and be happy. That is the motto of the Great Reset.
Wait, you'll own nothing, but will you be happy?
Throughout history, people that owned nothing, people that could own nothing had a special, a unique name, a unique classification.
Impoverished?
No.
Socialists,
Slave.
slave. There's that too.
Slave. They were beholden to somebody else for every bit of their existence.
Jane had it.
So why is there such a push on to ensure that you'll own nothing? To me, those kind of things are And this is not the horror show night. You know, I may just have to change the name of the channel to the horror show.
Yeah, it's pretty Glenn and Glove and all the awful things night. I'm just saying.
And you know, honestly, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm tired
I'm tired
of
too.
being a bear. I'm tired of being a bear. But
Aw.
I've got to be honest about,
You got the ball.
you know, what I see. Whether I'm right or wrong, I'll let you judge that and decide.
Hang on. She got the ball.
She's so proud.
She is very proud.
That's a big moment for her.
It is. She rarely gets it. And she found it underneath something else, but she would have mama's love in the ball. And she's my girl.
So, but, you know, there's just a lot of headwinds out there right now. And, you know, best I can offer you is to be honest and call them like I see them. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And I will gladly discuss any of that with anybody that has a contrary opinion or thoughts or whatever.
We can fight over it. Tallulah.
Tallulah.
Yes, that's a baby girl.
I think things will boomerang back around. They went too far left, and you start to see it's pushing back to the right. I certainly believe there is a increasing reaction on the right. I don't know if it'll be enough. I don't know if it'll be enough. Democrats are working mightily. I mean, they're even giving IDs to illegal immigrants as they cross the border so that they can vote, and sending them to states that have voter, you know, requirements, ID requirements.
Not this one, thank God. We have to have an ID to vote.
But they can vote because they now have an ID. They have a government issued ID. So that meets the criteria necessary to vote.
What are we going to do, Tallulah? How are we going to fix
20 million people. I don't know how many will vote, but you just take 20 million people, put them in a few key states, a few key cities, and get half of them to vote. I don't know. That's going to change a lot of elections.
Is it, or is it going to change the electoral votes, or is it going to change the
It will-
amount of funding they get?
It will change
the
the
census.
electoral vote.
Okay.
And it changes the number of representatives states get because the census
That's what I was
counts
thinking.
illegals.
Yeah.
In fact, the House just had a bill to require the census not to include illegals or non-citizens in the final census tally. But every Democrat opposed it. Every Democrat opposed it. And so
That's just wrong.
you know, I personally don't understand the argument of allowing people who aren't citizens of your country to vote and determine that country's future.
That should be, that's abhorrent to me.
I mean, particularly when they're receiving, you know, free rooms in hotels, Social Security, you know, maximum benefit,
Can I get-
Medicare.
Can I go to Iran? Not they have a voting system, but can I go to Iran and vote for who I want to be the leader? They have a
Yeah.
voting system.
Yeah. No.
It's just like that. I can't go to Mexico and vote. That's not a thing. More people should send that to this video.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we have sanctuary cities here in North Carolina, not as many as, we're not a state that's sanctuary, but they tried actually to get a school in Wilmington that taught special needs kids to kick them out so they could house illegal immigrants.
Yep.
And Moms for Liberty said, heck no. And so they couldn't do it, which I applaud them, even though they're on the, what is that? The Southern Poverty Law. What is not a legitimate organization or a organization that is, what is the terminology? A terrorist or a non.
Oh, they have it. Yeah. They publish this terrorist list, which includes It just does violence to the word terrorist.
And the Mothers for Liberty, really? You've got to be kidding me.
Yeah, a group basically
It doesn't
committed to individual rights,
Mhm.
traditional values,
It doesn't want porn in schools.
would be labeled a terrorist group.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even if you don't share their essential values, if you oppose their essential values, I wouldn't label you a terrorist. You could be on the other end of the political spectrum. I wouldn't label you a terrorist. Until you start bombing and murdering innocent people to try to influence political outcomes.
No, but they just don't want blowjobs and sexual stuff.
We don't need to
taught
go into that kind of detail.
in elementary school.
Yeah,
That's
we
their
just-
whole thing.
Yeah. So any other questions?
He hates it when I talk off script.
No, I just don't think we need to be too descriptive.
Well, we're far enough in. We should be okay. Does anyone really care what they call you a racist, transphobic, anti? Can you put that up?
Yeah. I don't care if somebody calls me that. I care if I get arrested for that and put into jail for years because I, was peacefully taking pictures of myself with a police officer inside the Capitol.
The fact that Target isn't going to sell that stuff anymore is fabulous because I mean, even though there were raging mothers who said my 2-year-old is a trans, which was just dumb. I'm sorry, but your 2-year-old could not decide what gender, we'll go there, what gender they are. That's just stupid. Oh my God, my child, we went to Target and they moved the section to the very back of the Target store and she's so upset.
What are you talking about?
You haven't looked at any of this. She's so upset because she feels like she's not seen or heard anymore.
Well,
I mean, that's just, I get it. Jane knows.
yeah, I just never heard those stories.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no.
Alphabet soup. Ridiculousness.
Yeah. Now they're still going to sell it online, but not in the stores. So, they at least won't be strongly advocating it and having it in prime locations. Now, if we could just get the same thing out of the schools, that'd be a nice, step in the right direction.
I'm thinking that our governor-elect may help that.
He's not governor-elect yet. He's running.
Well, he's
the election,
running.
yeah.
Yeah. Matt Robinson.
Yeah. He's just running
from
for
North
office.
Carolina. He is a freaking rock star. Love him.
So anybody else have any questions? We're getting up against our
My
time limit, our expiration date.
expiration date, not his.
Yeah.
I have the 9 o'clock. I mean, y'all don't want to watch us forever 2 hours. That's just silly. We're not that interesting. We try, but no, we aren't.
So I expect none of y'all to see us again next Saturday or whatever.
Why? 2 hours is a good long time.
I'm just going to kill her mic. So
You mean yours?
thank y'all. Do appreciate y'all being with us tonight. Hope that you found some of the time profitable. And we'll look forward to seeing you Saturday night. Bright and early, 7 o'clock, same time. If you've got any other questions or whatever, feel free to drop me an email.
You got it.
Is there a date yet for the book club?
Okay, if you have a library card, and I will put this in the community pages, you can get the audiobook for free. I sent it to Melissa and Carson and Brentwood, but I will put that on the community page. We don't have a date yet. I prefer it not be a Tuesday or a Saturday.
Yeah. How about a Wednesday night? Is that a good night for y'all? Or a Monday night
Or Thursday.
or Thursday? Y'all think about it. Email us. We will set a date sometime soon.
Which book is it? It is Naomi Wolf, The Beast. Help me out.
Is it The Beast Within?
I think so. We need to put that on there too. That's not Naomi.
Facing the Beast.
Facing the Beast. Yep. Can you put that on the page? But I did find a link that if you have a library card, you can get it for free. Hang on, we're getting there.
Facing the Beast. Whoops. Well, this doesn't work like I thought it would.
We had it up here somewhere. What'd you do with it?
Don't know.
Okay, cool.
But thank y'all. Appreciate you being with us. And we will set a date, sometime soon. And we'll probably do like a Wednesday night or something.
So it's Naomi Wolf, Facing the Beast, Courage, Faith, and Resistance in a New Dark Age.
Yeah, it's $5 for the book, or on Kindle, $4.
With the member trial on audiobook with Audible. But if you have a library card, you can actually get it for free as well. I will post that on the community page. And because it's a new book, so it's really, and Sky, I know, I feel you.
Yeah, that is absolutely not true. Sky is a beautiful, beautiful person.
Yes,
and
she
we love
is.
the hell out of her.
We do, but I understand her feelings.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna it is a great book. Are you showing? You are showing it. Okay, good. Yeah, but I will post on the community page the free, if you have a library card, audiobook, and we'll I will get that going, and we will pick a date on Saturday. How about that?
We'll do that.
Fair enough.
Thank y'all again.
Thank you.
Y'all
guys.
have a great rest of the week. Appreciate your time. And please don't forget to do the YouTube things. They help us. Like, share, subscribe.
It's free.
It's free. And we appreciate y'all.
Love you guys.
Our time is up. We thank you for yours.